On a Friday morning, 6-year-old Lily Sullivan should have been getting ready for school. She should have been putting on her little pink boots, grabbing her backpack, maybe humming a song on the way to class. Her younger brother Jack, only 4 years old, should have been by her side, smiling, laughing, maybe fighting over a toy like siblings do. But that's not what happened. Instead, by 10 a.m., their mother was on the phone with 911, reporting both children missing from their trailer in rural Nova Scotia. 2 innocent lives vanished, just like that. And yet, weeks later, the world has grown quiet. No headlines. No updates. No outrage. Just silence. So I have to ask. How do 2 children disappear in broad daylight, and everyone falls silent? Before we dive in, I want you to pause for a moment. If you believe Lily and Jack's story matters, if you believe their voices deserve to be heard, then don't stay silent. Hit like, share this video so more people know their names, subscribe so you never miss an update, and comment below where in the world you're watching from. Because the more of us who demand answers, the harder it becomes for this case, and these children, to be forgotten. It was Friday, May 2nd, 2025. The morning started quietly on Garlock Road, in a forgotten corner of Lansdowne, Nova Scotia, a place most people will never visit, and many locals wish they could leave behind. The Sullivan family lived in a deteriorating trailer, tucked away on a property littered with debris, broken furniture, and rusted machinery. Some might call it a home, but looking at it from the outside, you'd think it was a graveyard of forgotten things. Surrounding the property, a dense, suffocating forest. Trees twisted together so tightly they blocked out the light, ground uneven and covered in storm-felled logs. It was the kind of terrain you couldn't just wander through without struggle. Even for an adult. That morning, Lily and Jack's stepfather, Daniel, wasn't at work. He had only been given 1 shift a week at the sawmill, and this wasn't one of those days. Their mother, Malaya, was in the trailer too, caring for their 1-year-old baby sister, Meadow. And just a few steps away, Daniel's mother, Janie, was living in a battered RV on the same property. From the outside, it might have looked like an ordinary morning. But this was the last day anyone saw Lily and Jack alive. Lily Sullivan was born on March 22, 2019. She was a bright, curious little girl with a gentle smile, the kind of child who should have been worrying about learning her spelling words or playing tag at recess. Her younger brother, Jack, came into the world on October 29, 2020. He was full of energy, mischievous in that way only 4-year-olds can be. Together, they were inseparable, a sister and brother navigating childhood side by side. But behind those innocent smiles were troubling signs that not everything was right at home. Teachers noticed. They saw Lily and Jack show up at school dirty, sometimes without warm clothes during the brutal Nova Scotia winters. They saw the small details that others ignored, like when Jack appeared at school with a black eye in December 2024. Social workers noticed too. Concerns were raised about the children's development. Their mother, Malaya, told officials both Lily and Jack were on the autism spectrum, but there had never been a formal diagnosis. The truth is, these weren't just quirks. They were warnings. And still, nothing changed. No intervention strong enough to protect them. No system that stepped in before it was too late. 2 children. 2 lives. Dozens of missed opportunities to save them. On Wednesday, April 30, 2025, Salt Springs Elementary, the small school Lily and Jack attended, was closed. The children stayed home. The next day, Thursday, May 1st, their mother kept them home again, saying Lily had a cough. That same day, relatives saw both children alive. But by Friday, May 2nd, the last day they were ever seen, the story turned chilling. That morning, Malaya and Daniel said they were in their bedroom with their baby daughter, Meadow. 6-year-old Lily came in and out of the room, while Jack's voice could be heard in the kitchen. At some point, the couple claims, they both drifted off to sleep. When they woke up around 9:40 a.m., the house was silent. Too silent. No voices. No footsteps. No laughter. Lily and Jack were gone. Panic set in. Daniel said he jumped into Malaya's SUV and drove the backroads, frantically searching. Finding nothing, he returned 10 minutes later and searched on foot. Still, no sign of the children. At 10 a.m., Malaya dialed 911. Her voice shaking, she told the operator her 2 children had disappeared. Outside the trailer, Daniel's mother, Janie, said she had heard the kids earlier that morning. She thought they were playing on the swings beside her RV. But then, she remembered something even more haunting, the sudden silence. Followed only by Daniel calling out their names. Lily's little pink rubber boots were gone. Her white backpack was missing too. So were Jack's blue dinosaur boots. As if, somehow, the children had quietly prepared themselves for a trip, one from which they would never return. When Malaya's 911 call went out on that quiet May morning, the response was immediate. Authorities launched one of the largest search efforts that rural Nova Scotia had ever seen. More than 160 rescue personnel flooded into Lansdowne. Helicopters hovered above the dense forest. Drones scanned from the air. Dog teams combed through the underbrush. For days, volunteers and law enforcement alike scoured a 2.1 square mile radius around the Sullivan trailer. And then came the first disturbing discovery. Roughly 3,000 feet from the trailer, tangled in the branches of a spruce tree, searchers found a torn pink blanket. Nearby, in the mud, a small footprint, the size of a child's boot. But even this critical evidence was met with confusion. Daniel initially told investigators the blanket didn't belong to Lily. Later, he changed his story, admitting he'd seen part of that same blanket in his trash, weeks earlier. His explanation? Someone must have dug it out and planted it there. Other clues surfaced. A second small footprint found in the driveway, close to the trailer. A neighbor reporting a loud 5-speed car coming and going from the property 6 different times between midnight and 5 a.m. on the night the children vanished. Despite these unsettling details, police delivered a stunning conclusion just 3 days later: there was no evidence of an abduction. Their theory? Lily and Jack had simply wandered away into the woods. By May 7, the official search was scaled back. The helicopters and search dogs left. The investigators packed up. 2 children, still missing. And yet, the case was already losing momentum. The story of Lily and Jack's disappearance is littered with details that feel less like answers, and more like warnings written in bold red ink. Take the pink blanket. First denied by Daniel. Then suddenly, it was Lily's. Then, even more strangely, he claimed a piece of it had been in his trash for a week. His explanation? Someone had gone through his garbage and planted it in the woods. Think about that. If true, who would go to such lengths? And why? Then there were the footprints. Small. Faint. The kind that might belong to a child. One was found on a dirt driveway, another in the mud not far from the blanket. Clues so close, yet still leading nowhere. And then, the missing items. Lily's pink rubber boots. Jack's blue dinosaur boots. Her little white backpack. Gone without a trace. On top of that, Daniel later told the media that 2 sweaters vanished from the trailer after the children disappeared. Why mention this? Why draw attention to missing clothing if you truly had no idea what happened? And finally, the neighbor's report. A car, its engine distinct and loud, coming and going from the trailer 6 times between midnight and dawn. A detail that doesn't fit the official timeline, but could point to something happening long before Malaya and Daniel supposedly woke up to find their children missing. Each piece alone is disturbing. But together, they paint a picture of a story that doesn't quite hold together. A puzzle with pieces forced to fit, and gaps that refuse to be filled. When children vanish, the possibilities narrow quickly. In the case of Lily and Jack, investigators, neighbors, and even the public have circled around 2 main theories. Theory 1, they wandered away. The police leaned hard into this explanation. They argued Lily and Jack slipped out the back door quietly, passed through the fence, and wandered into the woods. After all, Lily's backpack was missing, footprints were found nearby, and the children were known to build makeshift forts in the forest. But here's the problem: the search. Over 160 trained personnel scoured every inch of a 2.1 square mile radius. If 2 young children were lost in those woods, they should have been found. And let's not forget, the terrain is unforgiving. Dense, bug-ridden, blocked by fallen trees. Even adults struggled to navigate it. Could a 6-year-old girl and her 4-year-old brother really get far enough to vanish completely? Hit like to push this story higher in the algorithm. Share this video so their names echo beyond this small corner of Nova Scotia. Subscribe so you never miss updates on this case and others like it. And most importantly, comment below where in the world you're watching from, because every comment is proof that silence isn't winning. Lily and Jack can't speak for themselves. But we can. And together, we can make sure their story is not buried in the quiet. Because silence doesn't just hide the truth. Silence is the accomplice of every crime unsolved.